5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best they can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. Tailored Landscapes is on the brink of spring cleanups for all their existing customers, and they have limited spots available. They trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give Tailored Landscapes a call at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of their designers and stop by the Tailored Life store in Bennett.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
This is it, Husker fans, your final chance to see Nebraska baseball at home this season. It starts Tuesday, May 6th with a huge rivalry matchup against Creighton. Then it's a Big Ten showdown as the Huskers host Michigan May 9th through 11th. Every game matters and your support can make the difference. Great seats are still available, but they're going fast. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/tickets or by calling 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus. Garage doors and more.
Out here on Nebraska's calm, welcoming waters, fishing is a breeze. It's the sweet spot where solo anglers find quiet before the catch, families reel in memories, and first-timers discover what makes fishing so special. From the Panhandle to the Platte, the best fishing happens here, beneath Nebraska skies. Get started at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Are you a fan of local wine, craft beer, cider, or spirits? Don't miss SIP Nebraska's 12th anniversary celebration May 9th and 10th at Mahoney State Park and join others who share your passion for great drinks. Enjoy unlimited tastings, live music, delicious food, artisans, and lawn games as you celebrate Nebraska's vibrant beverage industry. And when you find one you love, you can buy a bottle to take home. Choose your ticket package at sipnebraska.com. The SIP Nebraska Spring Festival, a Blur event, May 9th and 10th at Mahoney State Park in Ashland.
Are you buying a home? Westgate Bank understands that you need to make important decisions during your home buying journey. Our local lenders in Lincoln and Omaha make themselves available so you can get the information you need to know. Use our mobile mortgage app to manage your transaction from pre-qualification to closing, no matter where you are. Get the service and convenience you want from a local community bank where our interest is you. Learn more and visit us online at westgate.bank. Westgate Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chancellor Brewington, powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome in. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington, the former Husker tight end, joins me as always on a Thursday night. You guys can join in 402-464-5685. No Royals on the brick and mortar. We are live on the FM airwaves. You can always join these streams as well. Chancellor Brewington, bring you in here. How's it going on, at least where I'm at, a beautiful Monday or Thursday?
It's going awesome. It's going awesome. Having a great day, having a great week.
about to finish up the week here soon, or at least the work week. But everything's great. I'm glad to be on the ticket. Glad to be able to chop it up with you, and we got a lot to talk about. I mean, I feel like we've been we're damn near like your NBA coverage for the listeners right now. We've been talking a bunch of NBA. We've been dabbling into Husker. Of course, it's spring and not so much going on, but it's almost like someone heard our Jokic praise the other night, and the powers that be caused OKC to get 46-point lead last night, or win last night.
I think the refs hurt us.
Yeah,
the way they were treating Jokic out there. I'll say this much: they weren't going to win the game, even if he was there for the fourth quarter. It does infuriate me that like how ticky-tack fouls some of these they're calling on Jokic when I just look at that get mauled over and over and over again. It's like, I don't know what you want him to do. The last screen that he got called for a moving screen, it just looked like a solid screen to me. Did he move? Like just barely, maybe, if you want to make that call. But man, the foul amount on that was just load of crap to me. I get super infuriated watching. I get why the refs, they're trying to get control of the game, but it feels like he just constantly is flirting with 4 or 5 fouls in all these playoff games. Then you look at his arms at the end of the game and you're like, how are you not shooting 25 free throws when you just got cuts up and down on the arms and you're clearly getting mugged? But like I said, they weren't going to win the game, even if he was there for the fourth quarter. Thunder are good. Where do you want to start, man? We also got a new pope. That's in the news.
Hey, new pope. I mean, we could,
Pope?
yeah. I mean, if you want to start on the pope, we can.
Well, there's a reason why. You know what city?
Chicago.
Yeah.
The Rack.
To the
Windy City.
That's the only joke I had for it. I just hope it means that he prays a little bit for the Windy City sports.
The Bears go undefeated next year.
Oh, that'd be incredible. I think he's more of a soccer. That's what I was reading. So I might be out of luck.
But that's tough. Okay, we could really start George Pickens going to the Cowboys, and my Cowboys theory is this, and I don't know if I've ever said it. I probably have in the past year, but my Cowboys theory is this: is that Jerry Jones knows that if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl or try to win the Super Bowl, like legitimately put a squad together and go to win the Super Bowl, there will be like some fluctuation in ticket sales maybe 2 or 3 years after, right? And so I think there's like a progressive like light at the end of the tunnel. And it's like continuously, like it's literally goes from, it's kind of like Husker football in a way, to where like you're always anticipating this year is going to be the year. And so I think the Cowboys do that, and they get just good enough to go like, what it would be 10-6 or 9-7. Yeah, and they get just around that like median line to like barely getting wild card, or sometimes if the Eagles are bad, they'll win the division, but they like are just good enough. So I think this is an interesting one. I think it plays right into it.
Yeah, I mean, just starting. We'll start with a good year for them. 2016, they were 13-3. 2017, 9-7. 18, 10-6. 8-8. 6-10. 12-5. 12-5. 12-5. 7-10. Always good. Never really great, or at least they haven't been great. The problem for them is like in the regular season, you'll get super hyped about some of the things they're doing. They were 2 years ago the best offense heading into the playoffs, just for the Green Bay Packers to stomp them out in the first round and do so in a convincing way. And that's where, 2 years ago with that 12-5, those 12-5 records were all really good, but just something about them in the playoffs always seems to crash out. So I think Jerry, I'm going to go that far. I think Jerry's trying to win, but there's just been some chaotic playoff bounces and Dak's taken a lot of the brunt of the heat for it, because he's had some situations where, doesn't get the snap or just has a bad game overall, like in particular 2 years ago. So I don't know what it is with the Cowboys and why they've been stuck on that treadmill, but I totally get what you mean. Like that treadmill has been going and they've been running on that thing for a long time, and it's not taking them anywhere, but they stay on it. They got to hop off that thing sooner or later. I don't know if this is a big enough move. You get a ton of help for CD Lamb.
Yeah.
Bring in Pickens. I like the way those two guys probably play alongside each other. I'm still not super sold on everything else around it. Just the fact that they were 7-10 last year, the team took a significant drop competitively. There was some, you can call it drama between Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. It's just a team that it feels like when things start getting shaky, they fall apart every time.
Yeah, I agree. I think the goal for them, they're going to have to figure out a way to beat the Eagles or Commanders, and I don't, especially with the way, if Jaden Daniels figures out a way to play better than he did last year, and that's an uptrend, and that's not a plateau in play, which I don't foresee it being that way. And then the Eagles, they're just going to be a good football team for probably the next 3 years.
What do you think about the backers trying to ban the tush push?
You can ban it all you want, but when Saquon Barkley runs for 2,000 yards, I don't know if it matters that much. It's a highly effective, short yardage play that, they're not the only ones who run it. If you watch the Bills, they run it too, anyone with a bigger quarterback.
It's pissing teams off.
Yeah, and they're so big up front, and every team's big, but they're just so dominant up front. Like, you got Jared leading that center and some big old guards and tackles. So I get the frustration, but
yeah, to me it's super silly. Like, what are we talking about? Because if you put that rule through, you cannot push anybody now. That's
right. Because what happens when we go? It's a running play, and the running back's like, it's a 1st and 10 run. He gets to the 9-yard line, and he stand up, and the lineman comes and pushes him. So is that illegal now?
If that rule goes through, which I think it'll probably get shot down, then yeah, that becomes illegal, which is stupid. Like, that just takes a lot of the physicality out of football, which I guarantee you that's the last thing fans want. They want the physicality. People like unless you're playing the Eagles, people like seeing the tush push because it's incredible how effective they are at it. And not everyone can do it. It'd be one thing if every team was able to do it and everyone was just getting that 4th and 1 every single time, and it'd be kind of boring. But we've seen it. Like, yeah, the Bills try it. They're not nearly as effective at it. We've seen a bunch of other teams try it. They're just not as good at it. The Eagles built through the trenches, and they've practiced this for a long time. One of their coaches is a rugby-style coach. That's really how it started. And that's how they make it work. It's like rugby influenced. If other teams can do it, go do it. They can't, so they want to ban it. I think it's just insane. I don't think it'll go through, but I am surprised to see that thing just keep popping back up. Like, they are really, really trying to get this thing banned. And to me, that's just an insult to football. That is, winning in the trenches is, you could argue, the most important thing in football. And to eliminate, the tush push, that's the bread and butter of the Eagles, and that is the bread and butter and the reward for having a dominant offensive line, and you shouldn't be penalized for it.
Where are you at with Jaden Daniels?
Personally, still disgruntled about what happened, but yeah, he's an amazing player, and he's going to be awesome next year too. Even though that now players got some tape on him.
Yeah.
You got Kingsbury out there at OC, Quinn at head coach. That coaching staff is stacked up as well. They had a good draft. I think Commanders are going to be brutal next year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there, win 12 games, 13 games even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of there too. I think the second year, the sophomore year slump or whatever, it's going to be interesting just to see how dominant that year was he had last year. The best framework you have or model for the future or for his second year is probably CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
In the past few years. I can't remember a quarterback. Jaden Daniels, I would say his elusiveness, like him able to move outside the pocket, is different than CJ Stroud. So like a little bit different play style, but just like as far as like success for a rookie, I think you can kind of see like CJ Stroud did a good job his second year and really hasn't really had a bad year since then.
No, there's certainly like a drop off, but he didn't fall off a cliff or anything. There's a little bit more tape, but no, he stayed solid with Daniels.
And probably because Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, they've also lost some talent there.
Right.
So
and Tank Dell towards ACL.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I got shot in the offseason.
It's been rough for Dell. Prayers for him, because I forgot how bad the they got hurt there for a little bit there. But you know, yeah, with CJ Stroud, he's there's no Texans that feel bad about like how good he is after his first year. They're not super worried about the years after. At least I don't think. With Daniels, you know, I expect probably even a lesser drop off, just because again, I think that coaching staff is elite. They're going to be able to dial things. They got some more help for him as well, and he does just have that freak athleticism. Like he's not just scrambling out of the pocket; he's breaking ankles of elite edges and corners out there. He's going to be a problem for a long time, I think. As long as Jaden Daniels stays healthy, you know, it's going to be the conversation between Williams and Daniels. And right now, Daniels is running away with that conversation by a mile. And that's me saying that as a Bears fan. Like that season he put together, you can talk about, well, the Bears don't have the offense, blah, blah, blah. There were still times where Williams was making, you know, what felt like a pretty egregious error. And you'd watch Daniels. He rarely would make those huge mistakes in games. And also his ability to just stay locked in the games. I was the most impressive thing about the Commanders is, you know, I can use that Bears game as an example as much as it haunts me. You know, they always stay locked into the moment. There was no reason that the Commanders ever should have felt really good, especially at the end of that game, about coming back and winning it, but they pull off that Hail Mary, they lock in for it. And that's kind of been the Commanders all year long. It's just got to finally, you know, with the owner moving on, and that's a big part of it, the culture for the Washington Commanders is back. Like it is a place that if you're going to go play football, you can actually go there with a little bit of pride, especially with that owner being out of the way now, and feel really good playing in that organization with the coaching staff. And then when you know your quarterback as good as Daniels is, that he showed year one, you get really excited about what he's going to be down the road. So the Commanders, yeah, I'm glad they're not in my division. My division's loaded already, but if the Commanders were in there, yikes. Like it's just, they're going to be phenomenal. To me, the question is how long can you hold on to Kingsbury? Tough part about offensive, when you have a defensive head coach, the offensive coordinators kind of come and go. You know, they have really good years, 2 years, they move on and they take their next head coaching job. Where if you're the offensive minded head coach, you get to retain, to me, is the hardest thing to get through in the offseason, which is establishing what your offensive identity is going to be. That is where, you know, you got a guy like Ben Johnson on the Bears, you maybe don't have to worry about that offensive coordinator position rotating as much. It happens, but certainly you see a lot more when you do have those defensive guys first. So Kingsbury, how long can they hold on to him is the question. And when he does move on, you know, then do we see the drop off? Because Kingsbury is phenomenal. You know, when he was with the Cardinals, he took a lot of flack, but he really built the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray to be a legit, you know, elite offense for a little bit there. And then there's a whole plague of situations that happen, including Kyle Murray's, you know, Call of Duty time that he was apparently spending. But that's me. Kingsbury's the question.
I did not think you were gonna go there.
Hey, it happened. It happened. Enough to win the contract, so it must have been somewhat real.
Yeah, I think the main thing with like the Cardinals Cliff Kingsbury situation, it was like you had pieces you had certain pieces, but they just never panned out the way you thought they were going to be. And I mean, you had some real pieces. I feel like who could have really added. You know, you had D-Hop at a time, you had Christian Kirk at a time, even like the promises with the dude they draft out of Purdue, little slot receiver, Moore.
Oh yeah,
they draft him. You know, kind of expecting
he's a beast.
Yeah, and I kind of expected him to be whatever, and you kind of they did one draft pick I think has been slept on, and I don't think a lot of people even talk about him in the league is and of course I forget his name, is their tight end, Colorado State All-American, Trey McBride.
Okay, yeah, Trey McBride, he's a phenomenal tight end. He's always underrated year in year out. I feel like. Yeah,
so I mean that's a great grab, and you know, I think if you have a solid tight end, it's really easy to form offenses around that. So, I mean, the potential is there. I think in the draft, who'd you get? I don't know if you got a D lineman and you got a DB in the first round, I believe, for Arizona. And you didn't get and you got Marvin Harrison, and we kind of saw how can I put this? Kind of like a watered down version at times, seemed hurt at the beginning of the year, like wasn't full speed. I remember I saw him during camp. I went to one of their practices, saw him during camp, and it just didn't look like he was full speed. And really, like it really only looked like the back half of the year he caught wind. So it'll be good to see him, explode and for their offense to get together. But Kingsbury is doing his thing, and I think Jaden Daniels is the quarterback that he needs. And then I'm trying to think how much time we got. We got 5 minutes. Let's transition to Steph, man. He gets hurt second half. Left hamstring, leaves the game like immediately. It was not one where I don't know if you saw it, but it's like he was coming off a curl screen, whatever, hit a little shot and was running back and motioned to the bench. Hey, I need to come out immediately. Went straight to the locker room. And Draymond Green really saved him last night, 2 nights ago with the 18 points like that. And Buddy Hield, they shot 42%. I think Naz Reid or Anthony Edwards had 23. Naz Reid had 19. But the T-Wolves only shot 29% from 3 2 nights ago. And it was a rough one. It was geez, you're waiting for Anthony Edwards to kick it on and it just never turned on. And I think he's probably kicking themselves because they had it in the bag. But if you hear the reports, you almost hear Curry's kind of not really rushing to get back, and it's going to be the Jimmy Butler show. Seriously. But if there's any person in the NBA you would want to have to take over a team midway through the playoffs, it would be Jimmy Butler. There's no doubt about it, especially him guarding Anthony Edwards for a series.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain. Obviously, you can think about guys like Jokic, but in terms of just playoff dogs, yeah, Jimmy Butler. It's certainly that, but you can hope to just carry the load for a little bit there. And they just got to stay alive until they can get Curry back. Because I do think this starts ebbing in the Timberwolves' favor here, as I should check what the current score is between those guys as they're playing tonight. And I think they were, 36-19. Without Steph just requires so much attention. It's just you have to chase him around the entire game. Because the moment you have a lapse in effort, he hits a 3, and then it turns into 2 big threes, and then you close out hard for the third 3, and he crosses you up and gets an easy layup inside. And then pretty soon the entire defense is spinning, trying to figure out how the hell do we stop this guy? And all of a sudden, Draymond Green's wide open underneath the cup. Jimmy Butler's coming off a wide open slash. The best thing he does, even when he's not having a great night shooting, is you just have to stay on him completely, entirely throughout the entire game. And without that offense has been completely built around Steph Curry and has been built around Steph Curry since he's been a Warrior. It's just going to be hard for them to adjust in the middle of the playoffs as well. Having to run an offense without Steph Curry, how much different does it look? And just chemistry-wise, how does it feel with all those guys out there? And then if you're the Timberwolves, you get to take a big sigh of relief. Whoever, was guarding Steph, how many times you're just trying to hand him off over the screens also saves your legs a little bit. There's probably not a player who demands more defensively than Steph Curry. You could say, well, Jokic, the numbers. Jokic, he puts up crazy numbers, but you're not chasing him around the same way you have to do Steph. So, unfortunately for the Warriors, I just feel like the Timberwolves take this one, and they might even take the next 2 after that, make it a 3-1. And then you're just, really hoping what Steph's IR report looks like. If he can come back maybe a little bit early, or if he's got to wait a week, even worst case scenario, even longer than a week, then I feel like the Warriors are dead in the water, which is horrible because talking about this on We Talk Facts, the NBA has been trying to stomp out the Warriors, ever since they missed that first playoff window just for them to come back the next year and win it. Just kind of shows how good Steph Curry is in that Warriors team with Steve Kerr. Every time you want to be done with them, they come back. And then they beat the 2-seeded Rockets. And then they steal a game versus the Timberwolves. And it's I don't know what the timeline is for this Warriors team. And they just keep giving people fits. But without Steph there, it's an entirely new Warriors team. I don't see any chance they can win the series if Steph isn't back.
Yeah, and to even go to your point, it's not even that. It is that they're not the same team, and it's also they're not even they might be the worst team in the NBA without him. Just to be honest, top to bottom, they play 1 through 8, 1 through 9.
So not the Pelicans, easy.
Okay, you could make because you got Buddy Hield.
Yeah, Pelicans are what they finish. Pelicans finished the year on an abysmal 21-61. So I should have said they're not the Utah Jazz. Jazz finished 17-65.
I'm just saying, if Draymond Green, Butler, Post, Hield, and Poseen, I don't even know how to say his name, my bad. But if they lined up for 82 games, you're probably getting a similar record to the Pelicans. So it's a totally different team. You can't help off of Steph. It opens up so many driving lanes when he's on the floor for Jimmy Butler and your slashers, even Draymond shoot. So good. It's almost like good luck. Hope someone gets hot. So hope Jimmy Butler scores, 50 points one night. That's about only hope you got.
Yeah, and even then that might be not enough. We saw Donovan Mitchell drop 48 and they took a L to the Pacers at the last few minutes there. So with that being said, though, we got to throw it to break here. I do want to ask you about the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, we got to get into it.
I've been grabbing people's opinions on this, in particular with their salary. Their salary is absolutely insane, especially when you look at the years coming forward here. And just the way the playoffs are playing out right now, like if you're a Celtics fan, you're having some hard-hitting questions that you're probably thinking to yourself right now. And if you're the GM, you're probably losing sleep over it. So we'll talk about that next. Don't go anywhere. What's brewing? Chance Brewington, the former Husker tight end. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Talk to you in a bit.
Out here on Nebraska's calm, welcoming waters, fishing is a breeze. It's the sweet spot where solo anglers find quiet before the catch. Families reel in memories, and first-timers discover what makes fishing so special. From the Panhandle to the Platte, the best fishing happens here, beneath Nebraska skies. Get started at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
The goal for those coming on the road, let's go get that first. And then here's what'll happen. There'll be you'll kind of be lackadaisical. Instead of keeping that energy, why not too? Instead of keeping that energy, you'll probably see just a little bit more ease of play. Because in the psyche, we did what we came to do.
Every weekday from 3 to 5 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Spring has arrived. The temperatures are rising, and it's time to get your equipment ready for the season. Landmark Implement has high-quality used John Deere planters, sprayers, and tractors, priced to move and ready to work for you. Take advantage of unbeatable deals and flexible financing to upgrade your operation without stretching your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or browse our full inventory online at landmarkimp.com. Before these deals are done, experience the Landmark difference.
Muchachos has been serving Lincoln delicious pork, brisket, and chicken tacos for several years now, as well as Hatch Mac, nachos, and more. Muchachos also brings you close to the taste buds of your favorite local college athletes with NIL deals like the B3 burrito for Bella Bacon of Nebraska softball and many more. See a variety of different NIL options at Muchachos at 11th and K or order online at yomuchacho.com. Open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
Wolf Ace Hardware, your local hardware man, says please give blood generously. By doing so, your efforts could help save the life of a child, a surgery patient, or even that of an accident victim. So why not be a silent hero? Roll up your sleeves and give the gift of life. This message from Wolf Ace Hardware, located at 6118 Havelock Avenue in Lincoln, a quality company that cares. Contractors and homeowners, get to Wolf Ace Hardware for all your paint, brushes, and anything else you need for your upcoming project. For more information, call 402-466-7707. Wolf Ace Hardware, wishing all a very healthy and prosperous spring season.
Bagels & Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. You can't go wrong with one of their great bagel sandwiches or breakfast burritos. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels & Joe.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop, Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
Psst. You know what's better than waking up early to go to the airport? Sleeping in. Lucky for you, the lines at the Lincoln Airport are so short and our service is so fast. You won't need to sacrifice precious beauty sleep to get here hours before your flight. So, go ahead, sleep in. You deserve it, and choose the airport that helps you relax. LNK. Make flying easy.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome back in. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington, segment number 2. You guys are always welcome to join in via the Starter Haven text line, as well as any of the streams. Shout out on Facebook. Taylor, Celtics are, can't say that one. Not good. This may be the year, though, and says that's just sarcasm. So there you have it. You got some Celtics sarcasm right there coming from Facebook itself, and I can't help but happen to agree. The Celtics right now, it's a dire situation. The last game they lost to the Pacers, and this will set the table for it. The Celtics stat line was woeful. So you had Jaylen Brown, 8 for 23, 2 for 7 from 3. And then your second star, you know, you can put him any order you want. Jason Tatum was 5 for 19, 1 for 5 from the 3-point line. Al Horford was woeful, 2 for 11. Derek White, 6 for 17. Drew Holiday was good, 4 for 6. Peyton, 3 for 9. Luke Cornett, 3 for 4, and Kristaps Porzingis 3 for 5. But the big one, your two biggest stars, once again, who are demanding guaranteed money just between those two players alone, are guaranteed $500 million, over $500 million by the time their careers are said and done. And you're just not getting the type of production that you want out of either of those guys in these playoffs. Last year, when Tatum was down, at least Brown stepped up. But this is 2 years in a row now where Tatum is really continuing to struggle in the playoffs, especially now that we're in round 2. Question is, next year alone, this team is going to be worth about $500 million in those contracts alone. They're getting to the point where if this team loses in the second round, whether it's a gentleman's sweep or a game 7 or just a flat out sweep, do you have to start blowing up the Celtics despite them winning a championship last year, just based on the crazy numbers that these guys have on salary? The most money spent on any team right now in the league and any team in NBA history. And that one's kind of obvious the way the inflation's gone, but still it's an absurd amount of money on that contract, on that entire team's contract that they got to fulfill in terms of guaranteed money. You're going to have to move some pieces around. The question is, do you hold on, if you lose in the second round, or do you hold tight? Brewington, what, if you're the GM, what are you thinking here?
This is tough. Honestly, I might stick it out one more year, and I don't think that's wrong. I think there's there's just a need, especially just for how many stars you have, and Derek White playing at a high level. He's going to be a high ticket guy, in the years to come. Jaylen Brown, obviously Jason Tatum, like Drew Holiday, like everyone's worth money right now. And so you could maybe get some guys for some, I think you got to come to the table and say, is this working? And I think it is working. You just got to, second in the East after you win the ship. Cavs play an insane year. I would say it's definitely not working. It's not working. I will say that. It's not working. But I don't know if you can say like it's firing on all cylinders, right? And so I think moving forward, you got to find out who's your guy, because when it comes down to it, is it Jason Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? It's probably Jason Tatum, right? But, if Jaylen Brown is carrying the series and moving forward, let's say they finally get out, let's say they somehow get out of this and move forward and Jaylen Brown is, the next guy, like where do you move from there? That's a heavy question. I don't think Knicks fans or GM people want to answer.
If Jaylen Brown's the one that carry him through again, then I'm keeping Brown. I'm moving Tatum. That's 2 years in a row where Brown's been the guy for you in the playoffs, not Tatum. And that sounds crazy, but that's just with those two players. Those are the heavy contract hitters. And if you are going to blow it up, you have to, in my mind, move one of those guys, because it'd be awful for the Celtics, because they are kind of in this situation where like that's their dudes. Those dudes really, really care about each other. They love playing with each other. So if you do separate one, I'd imagine it's not going to go down very smoothly. But if you lose in the second round, well, guess what? Everything sucks. Nothing's fun when you're losing, when you're spending that much money on your roster and you're losing to a Pacers team who's nowhere near close to your salary cap. And right now they're taking you to the woodshed. I mean, they're pissing away wins here for the Boston Celtics. They've had a couple of times just for Halliburton to steal it away. This is what I'm talking about. Just like the luxury tax, I think people got to picture how much money they're really putting into this. So next year, if they don't blow it up, the luxury tax itself, and this is how we get to $500 million, estimates would be $280 million to $364 million. Just luxury tax. You are just paying that out of pocket so you can have a roster that's way over the expenses of everybody else. Are you really willing to pay $280 to over $300 million just for the luxury tax? The players add up to about $222,000 next year. The money is coming from an insane luxury tax that they're paying. That's where it gets tough, where you really got to figure out if you're not winning, is it seriously worth paying that much money in the luxury tax next year?
Probably not.
Like it seems like, hey, well, we won a championship, and it's like, you damn well better have won one, because that's an insane amount of money you're throwing on this roster. So you better go out and perform. Otherwise that number looks stupid. And if they go out year 2 or round 2 in this one, that luxury tax is going to look really stupid when they're going through the audit. And they're like, oh my God, we got hosed by the Pacers in the second round, and we still got to pay this luxury tax, and that's where the owners, that's where it becomes a business, right? If you're the owner, those numbers got to make you sick at least a little bit, no matter how much you love the Celtics. And to me, it's, if they make it to the finals, you can make an argument that it's worth it because you won again. That's back to back. You're starting a dynasty. You might be willing to, take up the luxury tax and say, you know what, we're winning. I don't care. But if you're losing with that insane amount of money that you are just unnecessarily throwing out of your pocket, I feel like that's where the owner and the GM gets involved. And it's like, okay, we got to move some of these pieces. We'll still be a luxury tax team, but not to the extent we're paying over $300 million for it.
Yeah, and I think the other point is that this has been going on for like 7 years. Obviously, not this big of spending, but I mean, there's just the Celtics dynasty of this era, I should say, of the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, that squad. So, you probably are feeling. You're probably feeling. I don't know what the feeling is within the organization to where it's like you finally get the win. Right. How much of a high are you riding off of that? Like, because you wanted it for 7 years, you know what I'm saying? And so now is it like, okay, maybe we can get back there in a couple of years, or is it like now the expectation is to get there every year, which I would guess it's the second one. If that's the case, then I think you do have to come to the table and say, and it's going to be a tough decision, bro, because I think it's going to involve Jason Tatum. I think it's going to boil down to that. To be honest, I think that's where you get the most money for, you get the most players for, most value, and honestly, risk reward. Let me ask you this: could you rather see Jason Tatum's career? Like, could you see Jason Tatum's career taking off on another team?
No.
And that's me too. I just don't see it working anywhere else but the Celtics. And that's not to diminish his talent. I think it's just like play style a little bit. I don't know.
I don't get me wrong. If he goes to another team, I think he'll put up good stats. But I do think his best chance to go down is definitely with the Boston Celtics. And this is where it gets tough because to me it's Brown or Tatum, and you really don't want to pull the trigger on it if you still think next year's a good shot. The thing about the Celtics, I think Joe Mazzulla is a great coach as well, but then I look at the amount of threes the Celtics take when they really, in my mind, should be attacking the Knicks inside with some of the height advantages they have at the wing positions, and they're just settling for threes. I mean, at one point in time, Tatum took a three and passed up a wide open Al Horford in the paint on a fast break. Like stuff like that is, where I wonder. I like Joe Mazzulla as a coach, but like he's got to get in those guys' ears about, we're dead last in free throws. There's a reason for that. We're settling way too much. We have all this talent and we're settling for threes. I can get a bunch of nobodies to settle for threes. If all my best players are just settling for threes over and over and over again, especially when I went through the box score and you see how the numbers are going, then maybe it falls on the head coach a little bit. But then you got to find a new head coach and hope that one works out. Because again, you're going back to that luxury tax. It's a tough one for this. I wouldn't make a obviously decision until I see how this second round plays out. But the way the Pacers are looking, and the most overrated player 2 years in a row now, voted on by his peers, Tyrese Halliburton, having the last laugh. You look at a team like the Pacers. I wonder if I could see where they're at on the luxury tax, just to kind of put the perspective of how far that separation is.
You know what else is tough, Harrison, is there is quite literally, I don't know if it's the way the game is going, but there's like no small forwards in the league right now that like back in the day, like dominant small forwards. I mean, you had just pick and choose. You had Melo, KD, LeBron. I mean, Tracy McGrady, Kobe. Well, Kobe was shooting guard, but like you had all these wing players. I mean, you could just pick from whoever you wanted, right? I mean, Joe Johnson at one point, like you could pick from whoever you like. Every team almost had a small forward, and now it's like you don't really have that dominant small forward list. I feel like it's more so, I don't know where it's more so like bigs now, bigs and like 1 and 2 guards. So I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, like when you look at like who's the best small forwards, I think they're on the top of the list with, LeBron and KD, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. And by the way, I found the Pacers. Just to put this into perspective again, going to the Celtics and saying luxury tax. The Pacers, who they're down 2-0 right now, are under the luxury tax. No penalty for them at all.
Oh, wow.
That Pacers team's taking them to work, and that's the 24-25.
You mean the Knicks?
Or yeah, excuse me. I said the Pacers. The Knicks. I'm getting my teams mixed up here. The Pacers are under the threshold, which they are dominating the Cavs. Let me pull up the Knicks here. I was completely flipped those series around. The New York Knicks right now, they're over the tax, but not nearly as much, with a penalty of around $38 million.
Do the Pacers go 3-0 tomorrow?
What's that?
Do the Pacers go 3-0 tomorrow?
I think so.
At home?
Is Garland back is the biggest question.
I don't believe so.
If he's not back, then 3-0. I mean, Donovan Mitchell dropped 48, and that wasn't enough. And you don't have the defensive player of the year in Evan Mobley either. Like, it's just unfortunate timing for the Cavaliers. And the Pacers they're good. Like, Halliburton's unreal. I don't know how he always gets the most overrated player award. And I'll tell you, it is interesting to watch. It feels like I'm picking on the Celtics a lot. But you look at Jason Tatum, and some people are saying, man, the Olympics really affected his mindset. And you think it's bleeding in.
That's right.
But then you go look at Tyrese Halliburton. Who was sitting next to Tatum on the bench? Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, but I mean, Halliburton, this is his 3rd or 4th year, hasn't really, established himself in the NBA yet. But like Tatum's been in this joint since 2017. Like he's a vet. Like he's a established vet in the NBA and considered, just came off a championship win, didn't get the finals MVP, is considered by his peers, I would say, one of the one of the best small forwards in the NBA, and doesn't play in the USA championship game or, some of the other games as well. So I think it's a little different, but I think
really though,
I get what you're saying though.
He's only 2 years older than him.
Who? Well, age. Are you saying by age or by how long he's been in the NBA?
Age, because I think this is a maturity thing.
But I think it's like just being established in the league, and I think that's I think that's the embarrassment factor, is how established Jason Tatum has been in the league, and for him to not be considered like, I don't know, like Derek White played more than him, So it was just like, I think maybe that was an aspect too,
Yeah, and that's, let's see here. So Tatum's got 8 years in the NBA.
8 years?
Yep, 8 years, which is kind of crazy. I didn't realize it was that much either. And then we go look at Tyrese Halliburton. I'm trying to remember his draft class. How many years has he been playing? So Tatum, this is 8 seasons for him, Tatum 8 seasons, and then for Halliburton, 2 years at Sacramento, 4 years. So again, 6 years. Yeah, it's just a 2-year difference. I don't see that much of a significant, drop off. Like, that's the part I don't get with Tatum. And it could be this isn't, that's all BS, and he's not even thinking about that stuff. But it is just kind of crazy to see the Tatum really seem to be struggling despite having a loaded team around him. And then you got a guy like Halliburton, who's really, I'm not going to say it's that big of a gap. I mean, 2 years in the league. If anything, Tatum is the more mature one. He's been in the league longer. He understands it's a business. You think he'd be able to pull out of that a little bit better, but it's been the polar opposite. I'm curious to see how it shakes out here. And we got a bunch from the text line. We'll get to these real quick, and then we'll throw it to break here. We got 3203. Celtics aren't playing the pay. Yeah, okay. We corrected that one. Good correction there. And then 5162. I get the strategy of jump shots needs to be 3-pointers, but if you're settling for bad 3-pointers over post shots, it's not a recipe for success. 100% agree. And then Augie, Tatum to the Spurs, team up with Wemby.
Jeez. And Chris Paul.
Here's the problem with that, though, and this isn't a problem. I think if you're the Spurs, you're salivating over the idea of Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That gets to there needs to be restrictions at that point.
Can you imagine fast break Brewington? You're protecting the rim, and you got Giannis coming down on the left side, and then you got Victor Wembanyama coming down on the right side.
I was protecting the rim. I went and I'm ready for the rebound now. Or I'm ready for the outlet pass from the inbounds.
That's exactly what I do. That's an ultimate business decision. Nobody's.
Like imagine them driving. Or not driving. Imagine them like playing in a zone and them down on the block. Like who in their right mind is going to attempt to drive past that? Like that's ridiculous.
And if you just want to get cute with it and just start throwing crazy ideas out there, I don't think money-wise maybe. You have so many small contracts on that Spurs team. If you just want to get crazy length to it, then you throw in a guy like Kevin Durant, who's on his last legs, but you just get another freakishly tall wing in there. I mean, then pretty soon, that team becomes unstoppable. And
you know what you can do, Harrison, is you can put Wemby at like the 4 and put Giannis at the 5. And you have to put your tallest player on Wemby. You have to. And that puts, Giannis is going to have a field day. You go a big lineup with Wemby. It's almost – and Wemby can bring the ball up himself. Like, he's a freak, bro. He's a freak.
Yeah, I think that might be the scariest roster you can put together with those guys right there. And then, you just have – Spurs are going to be fun to watch. We got to throw it to break. We're going over here as I'm kind of rambling, just like picturing ideas of like what that would look like if they were able to pull that off. As I do think Giannis won't be a buck forever, but we are up to the clock here. We'll throw it to break. Brewington, what do you want to wrap up? You want to wrap up more NBA, or do you want to dive our toes into college football possible expansion, college football playoff expansion?
Oh, yeah, we got to do that one.
All right, we'll do that next. Don't go anywhere. What's brewing? Chancellor Brewington, former Husker tight end. Harrison Arn's back at the studio. Talk to you in a bit.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Make your move fun and easy with the help of Movers and Shakers. Movers and Shakers is homegrown, female-led, and ready to help make your transition to a new space as seamless as possible. They excel at residential and commercial moving jobs, as well as offer home cleanouts and junk removal services. Moving into a new place is stressful enough, so let Movers and Shakers ease the transition. Give them a call today at 712-899-6265 or book your move online at www.moversandShakersNE.com today. Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Are you looking for a place to relax and unwind after a long week? Grotto Bar and Lounge is the perfect spot to enjoy a full menu and in-house DJs on Friday and Saturday nights. If you're wanting to start your Saturday or Sunday off the right way, stop by for brunch starting at 9 a.m. Don't forget, Grotto offers a full catering service as well for those graduation parties, birthday celebrations, and weekend family get-togethers. Give Grotto Bar and Lounge a call today at 402-231-3019 or visit them in person at 738 in the Clock Tower Shopping Center. For your Sundays off day with Steph and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Steph and Nicole discuss health and wellness, guide you through fitness goals, and more with the likes of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 Ticket.
Attention! Acres Public Fitness Place is offering great deals below market value on the largest selection of for a limited time. Acres is offering interest rates as low as 9% on a late model John Deere ag equipment. Acres low interest rates tractors, sprayers, and combines makes it a great time to upgrade your equipment for the 2025 season. Visit acres.com for details. That's akrs.com.
Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it's time for a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? It's a perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better humidity control, increased warranty, or all the bells and whistles. Bryant provides options in warranty, features, comfort, and efficiency, and maximizing savings. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and 1111 or visit BryantLincoln.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
not getting it all, dude. Got a lot of attitude, man.
Empire-fence.
Yeah, dude. That's like a YouTube special. Thanks, sir. This guy's not getting it all, dude.
Appearance of
Hey,
your
everybody's sons to feed you M&M's and you've been playing M&M's around your whole week.
to your
What's
property.
it like having a very
Empire-fence.com now to view the possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Support my public kitchen and outreach and give to Lincoln Day. Your gift will be received by a portion of Lincoln Community Foundation's matching funds. It's a complex problem facing our community. And working together, we can find solutions. Your donation for Give to Lincoln Day moves us closer to ensuring that everyone in Lincoln has a safe space to sleep at night. Because of your generosity, hope lives. Give any time through May 29th at GiveToLincoln.com.
Make sure you from 11 to 12 for all things youth football. Mary and fan. Learn how the game of youth football has grown in and around the capital city with coaches, athletic directors, and league commissioners telling you all about it. It's all things youth football with Tank Perry and Jim Sandman every Saturday from 11 to noon right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington? Chancellor, 12 teams in the playoffs. Not enough. They want 16. This one from Thamel. With the Power 4 commissioners meeting today in New York, sources said they continued focus on a 16-team college football playoff starting in 2026. Quote, I would say that 16 is becoming the most preferred, said in the industry. It seems like 16 may be the preferred number, but there is no format decision. Me and DeMornay had some pretty strong, you could say vehement thoughts towards it. I just want to get your ideas first before I give mine. Thoughts on expanding the playoffs from 12 to 16 by the year of 26?
Gosh, this is the first time I heard this. And I'll say the gap between the first seed and the 16 seed in college football is like it's bigger than baseball and it's bigger than basketball. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think Iowa State was somewhere around, not Iowa State, like Oklahoma State or Kansas. I think Kansas State was somewhere around 16, right? Maybe they were like 19 or something, but they are not them competing with Oregon or them competing with Georgia or them competing with like Ohio State. That's just not, it just doesn't make sense, you know? And so
I agree. It's like, that's kind of where we fell on. Like, you know, I think Columbus probably had a better chance of finding India than the 16 seed has been beating and winning the whole championship. Like, I'm serious.
It could happen, but shoot, I mean.
Well, I mean, like, and this is kind of where we landed on it, right? When we had just 4, the drop off between 4, you were going to piss off a few teams, but it was a pretty smooth drop off where this team, and maybe 3 teams had an argument for that last spot in there at that 4. Okay, but then we get to 12, and then we saw it already with 12, like 13 and on, or excuse me, 12, 11, like that kind of gets murky. You could throw quite a few different teams in there if you really want to, that have a legitimate argument as to why they should be in the college football playoffs. Now we get to 16. It just gets murkier and murkier. Now, what's the cutoff look like for the 16th team? You know, because then you're going to have, well, Clemson, they lost 4 games. Army only lost 1 though, but Army has the weaker. Now you're going to have multiple teams, dozens of teams that do have a legitimate argument to be in the playoffs, but you're going to have to make a decision, and there's a good chance you're going to be wrong because it's almost impossible to figure out these things, but it gets harder and harder the further you expand these playoffs. So that's kind of where I land on. Also, just waters it down. I like you said, like, I don't think we're going to see the 16 seed make it all the way to the championship and then win the championship ever.
Yeah, you're going to have the similar arguments that you had why SMU's in there, and you know, I forget who was the other team, SMU and Boise State.
Yeah, Boise State.
Like you're gonna have more of those, right? You're gonna have more of those, and it's not gonna be easy. The lashbacks from bringing these not non-power 4 teams in there because they just go undefeated in their conference and they just end up being, you know, 12 to like 18 on the ranking polls. So it's gonna be hectic and chaotic, and I'm sure there's gonna be some bias in the rankings now. There's gonna be some type of clause in there that changes the power rankings. Watch.
Yeah, unfortunately though, money talks. But my vote is no. Brewington, I'm taking it. You vote no as well to that?
I vote no.
All right. I don't think it's gonna matter. Like I said, money's gonna win at the end of the day, most likely. But that is a real possibility. So 2026, don't be surprised if there is a new playoff format once again, and it's not 12 teams, but 16. Chancellor Brewington, appreciate it. As always, I will talk to you again on Monday. That's going to wrap up Ticket Weeknights. Everybody, have a great rest of your week. That's it for me, but they'll join you tomorrow. Early break, Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, or it might still be Nick Stander. Not entirely sure on that, but you will have Steve Sipple, Bill Bush. Be sure to tune in 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Are you looking for a place to relax and unwind after a long week? Grotto Bar and Lounge is the perfect spot to enjoy a full menu and in-house DJs on Friday.